the trail in there with a good shooting lane down straight in front of you. And then there's 2 shooting lanes to the right and left of you there. All kinds of deer movement there all throughout the morning. And then he left. Mr. Bagel come out.
The border country region of northwestern Ontario near the town of Emo. When I returned last fall, I was quick to get out in the stand for my first morning sit.
Just seen a doe and a fawn before light over here, and it one glimpse of a doe skipping over there, and that was it for the whole morning. We got kind of volatile weather coming. It started to rain here about an hour ago. We'll see what happened for it. We're 3 trails crossing the woods here up in Ontario with border country outfitters, and they have got trail cameras of a couple of big bucks in here. One of them has dual drop tines, which has always been something I've been hoping to see and get a shot at in my entire life. And in 50-some years of hunting deer, I've never seen one in the wild. So I'm really hoping to see that deer. God only knows if I will.
This part of Ontario has been a favorite for my family, pro staff, and I for many, many years. It's simply teeming with game, amazing hunting and fishing opportunities, and for scenery, hey, just doesn't get any better. Archery, crossbow, or rifle, we've seen and taken some beautiful whitetail bucks. The black bear hunting in the thick Canadian bush is always phenomenal, and we've even been fortunate enough to come away with memories of successful hunts for the largest of all North American mammals, majestic bull moose. So, as you can imagine, having such a history from an area, it's always exciting to return and let the anticipation of the upcoming hunt sort of overwhelm you as it gets underway. There's nothing like being in the stand that first morning, watching the woods awaken, with high hopes for one of the monster bucks of the region stepping out to show himself. Also joining me at Border Country Whitetails and set up in a totally different area is good friend Charlie Wasley. And as you'll soon see, he's a die-hard hunter with a passion for whitetails. Now, like anywhere, deer hunting in Ontario provides no guarantees. But the one thing you can know is that the far northern reaches of the Whitetails range kick out some of the biggest, strongest, heavily racked bucks in the world. And believe me, knowing this really keeps a hunter on his toes at all times.
First day in Emo, Ontario, heading out to stand. It's a balmy 35 degrees and following our guide Larry, who's going to show us our first stand for our first sit. The bucks are moving and hopefully we get to see a couple this morning.
One buck so far this morning that was a borderline shooter, but I think we made the right call on not taking that. The weather seems to be changing a little bit. We even think we saw some snowflakes, so hopefully this afternoon we see more movement.
Now, as our day one hunts unfold, let me explain why this area has the capability of growing some really big bucks. Here at Border Country, it's a prime mix of genetics, agricultural fields, and the seclusion of endless big bush for monster bucks to hide. The trick is getting one out into the open for a rifle shot, which is why we're hoping to find them in full rut and out chasing does. It's the one time of the year when they become somewhat vulnerable, distracted by their inner urge to seek out does and mate.
We're back here for an evening sit. There's supposed to be a bigger buck here, so we're looking forward to it. The weather has changed. It's still mid-30s, and it's started to rain. It's really overcast, and feels like the deer might be getting up to move. We're hoping the evening's going to show a couple more deer, and hopefully something that we can take home. So let's get to it.
the buck came in, and he was hot to trot and went after her and started chasing her. And the way it was set up, we were overlooking about a 100-yard field, and the buck chased them out, and he went down to the field and was feeding a little bit, and the does came in behind, and as he was at the one end, he started seeing them coming back, and we knew it was going to be on. Eventually he worked his way down the edge of the tree line, came back out, was chasing her around again. He ended up about 5 yards. We could have, you know, shot him with the bow. We're in rifle season here, but he was right there. Not quite the buck we're going after, but it's really cool to see that, and also exciting that it's that time of year, and we're hoping to see more bucks moving now. And just an exciting night overall. One of the coolest experiences I've seen live. Really excited for day number 2.
Now, continuing Ontario on a rifle hunt with Charlie Wasley, we've seen some good signs, but no whitetail bucks yet either one of us have wanted to pull the trigger on. Hopefully today, that situation will change.
It's just starting to get light. It's morning number 2. We're in a whole different stand, and I like this one a lot better. We got a big open field here. I think it was wheat or barley or something. But it's surrounded by the real thick bush. And, I mean, you just got that feeling that there's big bucks live here. And I also know in talking with Larry, one of the guides, that there's a bunch of scrape lines and rub lines around the edge of this field. And they've seen 2 big bucks in the area. Doesn't mean they're here now. We're coming into the rut season. I think they're actually on it right now. And so it's just going to be a matter of wait, hope, and pray. Meh. Yeah, we're gonna let you grow up, buddy. Well, that was exciting. Nice ace point. We seen the doe come out way on the other end. Then she flipped back into the woods. Then she came out up here, and she went all the way across, and she started coming down towards us. All of a sudden the buck comes out. Maybe a 130-ish 8. Maybe not that big. So we decided to let him have another year or 2. But that is what we're looking for, is buck chasing the doe. They should be on it real good like right now, and I'm afraid that too many of the big bucks are back in the bush country here with does. They're not coming out, but that one just did, and others could. Trouble of it is, we're down to about 10 minutes or 15 minutes of light, and then we're done for the day. I could kill him if you want me to kill him. Well, I'm pretty certain I just killed I think a 10-point buck. But his body was in that grass, and I could see his head. I couldn't see the body real well, and just slid it back, and pretty certain I got him. I wanted some fresh back straps, so I know it's not the biggest deer in the world, that I know, but I mean, it looked like a fairly decent 10-point buck. I'm kind of anxious to go find out what we got. I knew he hadn't gone far. He only went about 50 feet. Not as big of a 10-pointer as I thought you were. 9-pointer. Doesn't have a brow tine on this side. Different little guy. But, whew, he is rutting. That is definitely tarsal gland. Well, I better get my tag and get him tagged.
Okay, with one buck down in Ontario, Charlie Wasley's whitetail hunt continues after a few very nice encounters the day before.
All right, we are getting ready for our morning sit, and it's cooled off quite a bit. It's below 0 in Celsius, that is, and we're heading out to a box blind overlooking a big field, and we're excited for it, and we're getting ready to go and go see what we see this morning.
We're sitting over a pretty big field, about 300 yards to the end of it. So I've been watching the field edges, hoping a buck will step out and troll along the edge. There's a bunch of scrapes along the edge, and so we're hoping that the bucks, with the weather changing now, getting colder. It was below freezing this morning. You can probably see it in my breath. Hopefully it'll get them up and moving. It's sunny out. It's gonna be sunny out today. It's still early, but you can tell that there's a change in the air. So yeah, we'll see what happens. All right, I'm back at the same spot from this morning. We're gonna walk in, slow hunt on the way into the stand. Looks like it's still gonna be overcast for a while. We're hoping the clouds burn off here, the fog burns off, and the deer will be moving. We saw a bunch of does this morning. When they get sprayed up, and we're gonna walk in. We're on our way into the stand and found us fresh scrape here. Right on the field edge, right underneath a licking branch, so this would be a good spot to sit over. We're not right here, but there's plenty of them all along the field edges. Bucks travel through, they stop and scrape it up a little bit, pee on it, and lick the branch, see what other deer have been around, so who's in the neighborhood. So we'll keep going and see you in the stand. Big buck. He's walking along. What's he doing? He's broadside right now. Just take your time. About 300 yards. All right, here we go. I'm ready. I got on him, felt good, squeezed the trigger, it felt like a good shot, and it spun, took off running the opposite direction, so we're going to give him about a half hour and go and check and see if there's blood, and we'll take it from there. But this thing is the biggest deer I've ever seen, so let's cross our fingers and hope that we got ourselves a dead deer.
Well, the long and short of Charlie's search for his downed trophy buck ended with the reality that for whatever reason, he simply missed. Something that happens to the best of us from time to time. Though shaking it off was tough, He just reset his sights on the remaining days. This time, Charlie actually had many more quality encounters and more opportunity to witness deer reacting to one another during the very beginning of the rut.
We're on our morning sit, oversetting a new field north of Border Country Outfitters. A little more remote. Nobody's been up here hunting yet. Thought that this would be a good spot to start getting a little more aggressive with the calling. First time we called, he came right in within minutes, and he's a small buck, so we let him walk. But they're starting to react to calling, and I think we're going to sit here all day. We got another buck in the field. It's not very big. Looks like he's just kind of walking back and forth. Nope, hang on. Yep, we've got another little button buck coming from the other end of the field. Looks like this one's walking this way. This might be a battle of the big boys here. 3-inch versus button buck showdown.
You know, for me, it's always tough to quantify success following a hunt. In the case of Ontario last fall, I did certainly enjoy the taking of a nice buck, though by no means did he fall into the category of the truly trophy bucks that inhabit the border country region. At times I do set a trophy or nothing standard, but in this case, it wasn't about that at all for me. When I looked through the scope, all I saw was a dandy buck and venison steaks cooking on the grill. And truthfully, I think that's how the majority of hunters see a situation like that. Feeling very fortunate to harvest a buck of any kind. Misses happen, and frustrating as they are, it's part of hunting that a person just has to find out a way to blow off and maybe spend a bit more time practicing. It certainly happened to me and most every hunter we all know, so that's why I felt it was important to show it as it happened. End result for both of us was that experience of the huge adrenaline rush which always keeps you coming back for more. You know the one and completely understand it, I'm sure. I'm Babe Winkelman. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, everybody, hey, good hunting.